Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters. Here are the top 10 terrifying found footage tapes the FBI can't explain, and neither can we. Kicking off the list at number 10, Doorbell Lawn Camera. We'll start with a recent doorbell cam recording, okay? Those are always terrifying. Every time I see one of these, first of all, I think of the Paranormal Activity franchise. I get so creeped out just looking at them. This video was submitted by Robert Parks. Now it shows the lawn, his front lawn, around 4 a.m. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a naked man appears. That's always fun. Yeah, he was trying to cover up his, goods, or not goods rather, but given the fact that he was still, naked, it was pretty horrifying after the fact. You can't hear it because we had to mute the audio, obviously, but he's yelling about snakes being all over him. Yeah, luckily police arrived and gave the man the help he needed, but imagine somebody going through a rough time. I feel bad, but you also have to stay safe at the same time. You can't have a naked dude running inside your home talking about snakes on a plane or whatever. Number 9, Bigfoot caught on tape. This video is said to have caught the Russian Bigfoot himself. Also, Russian Bigfoot, another Bigfoot, are there many Bigfoots? We'll talk later. The exact location of where this video was taken is still unknown. In fact, there isn't a ton known about this video at all, hence why it's on our list today. But what we do know is that it was taken somewhere in Russia and that people believe it captures the real Bigfoot. It's a short clip that captures him, so I'm just gonna show you guys and then you can decide for yourselves. Comment down below. I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence personally. If Bigfoot was real, it's time we pay up. I mean, come on. This man's image has been used in the media for years. How is he paying his bills? Also, is there one Bigfoot or multiple? Is there a Russian Bigfoot? Is there a Canadian Bigfoot? Is Chris the Canadian Bigfoot? I don't know. Maybe. He wears a lot of plaid, who knows? Number 8, Matt doesn't live here. Okay, this one I need your help on. There's a backstory that I need to figure out right now. Back in 2016, in the middle of an August summer night, this man approaches. Again, topless, always a great sign, just naked dudes approaching homes all of a sudden. And he's slowly approaching and he's looking back at somebody off camera. He has a look like he's about to rob the place almost. He's doing this. He's kind of tiptoeing in and out. It's not looking good. But instead of knocking and running like we all did when we were 15 years old, he pretends to knock. He knocks the air and then pretends to ask somebody who's not there if Matt is home. I don't know if he did this so the other person could see, maybe it was like a prank or a dare, or maybe it was an attempt to break in and we just didn't really connect all the dots, or he didn't follow through with the plan, or he chickened out, I don't know. Either way, I'm glad nothing really bad happened. So creepy, either way. Number 7, Milgram experiment footage. This video comes to us from the 1960s and it's apparently from the experiment known as the Milgram experiment. Basically, the premise was that they got two groups of people, okay? One called the teachers and one called the learners. And they paired them up, one from each group. So far, so good? Awesome. The pair couldn't see each other, but the teacher would ask the learner a question. The teacher was then told to give them an electrical shock. Yeah, every question made the shocks get worse and worse until an eventual fatal shock would be administered.
It'll be 195 volts. The correct one.
Let me out of here.
Slow. Dance.
Let me out of here. My heart's bothering me.
Now, before the experiment, it was proposed that only 3% of the participants would go all the way and would actually give the fatal shock. But it turned out that under pressure, 65% of the teachers actually gave the lethal dose of electricity to their learner counterparts. Now, luckily the students were actually just actors, so nobody was truly getting hurt here, hence the experiment. But it is honestly very creepy to see on footage. We always heard about this, but seeing it happen, it does something in here that I don't really like. Number 6, TV head. Stepping away from the worst of the worst or the weird or whatever's going on in that last video, let's shine the spotlight on some, I guess, creative happenings, dare I say? Like for example, the guy wearing a TV on his head. Apparently that's a thing now. Awesome. In Toronto, we have a guy that walks backwards around the city. And then here in Virginia, they have a guy who wears a TV on their head. So back in 2019, this man would appear all over in Virginia. He visited more than 50 residents in his time, and he would show up with a TV as a head, and then if that wasn't already creepy enough, he would leave an old TV on your doorstep in the middle of the night, and then just leave. That's so annoying to move. Also, it is pretty creepy. Many believe this man was inspired by the comic book series Saga. There's a race of TV alien heads. This could be a fan of, Prince Robot IV. Either way, this is annoying. You're walking on our property, you're leaving TVs. I wouldn't lift this up. Are you kidding? My brittle back? I couldn't lift a TV. I can't even lift a laptop now. Get out of here. Number 5, Salem Road. This video shows a couple guys driving in a truck down a road in what looks to be like a very rural area. It's not too bright or fun. Now they're just two guys being dudes hanging out, blasting some Coldplay, whatever you do with your dudes on the weekends. Now you know a little bit more about me. All of a sudden they come across a woman dressed in white walking down the middle of the road. So they turn down their Coldplay, probably, and they swear a bunch. Obviously they're in shock. Just a woman walking down in the middle of the road in what appears to be the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden these men driving up behind her. It looks bad from both point of views, know what I mean? They stop the truck and one of them gets out to go check on her to see if she's okay, because she's walking kind of, you know, ghoulish. She's got like the ghoulish walk. Now the guy continues freaking out. He's telling them to get out of there, and the other guys don't believe him until they realize that seemingly out of nowhere this lady is now right in front of their truck. Awesome, we love phantoms. The video ends with this clip. I'm not sure who or what this lady was or what's going on here, but that's all I gotta say. One of these. Number 4, overnight break-in. This next found footage comes from a doorbell camera, one of my favorites, and it shows the terrifying moment a stranger begins trying to break into a woman's home. This is my worst fear, if I'm being honest here. She starts off by backing up and throwing her body into the window until it finally breaks. Now the stranger wasn't in any immediate danger or anything like that, but it does appear as though she may be a little bit confused about her whereabouts, which is obviously sad when you look at it. The woman whose home is obviously freaked out. More than fair. I mean, imagine this happening out of the blue, middle of Survivor finale. You're like, what's that sound? What is that? Yeah, that ought to be jarring. Eventually, a police officer showed up and spoke to the woman who claimed that her friend was in the house. Now, obviously, this was not the case, but this is why I believe she may have been a little confused as to where she was. In the end, it just so happens that alcohol had a little something to do with it, so everyone was okay. It was just a rough night. You know what I mean? Number 3. Chernobyl footage. Okay, this one comes to us from the later 1980s when there was a nuclear disaster in Chernobyl, obviously. I don't have to go into detail about this one. In April of 1986, there was an explosion and a fire taking place at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This explosion happened when there was an issue and they were trying to begin an experiment which was set to actually make the reactor more safe, but in turn it didn't work out. Unfortunately, the way the reactor was designed placed too much responsibility in the hands of an operator. One thing led to another, and it was this huge, tragic disaster. The amount of radiation in the air caused alarms at the Forsmark nuclear power plant in Sweden. Footage I'm about to show you is just a small glimpse into what things looked like soon after this took place. I can't imagine how scary this must have been for everybody involved. Even watching it is disturbing, to be honest with you. Chernobyl today is still pretty much a ghost town, but there are people who live there. Some of them never even left in the first place. Number 2, Doorbell Licker. And immediately back into the weird stuff. This was one of my favorites, I have to include it. This was short and sweet, not much explaining to do here. Just a dude going up on a doorbell. Back in 2019, a man was caught on surveillance approaching a home in a neighborhood in Salinas, California. He doesn't say much, he just shows up and, well, like I said, starts licking the doorbell. Just goes to town on this button. Not the camera, the actual button, the actual doorbell itself. He rang the bell apparently hundreds of times. He did this for hours straight. Now the homeowner said in a following interview after seeing the footage, "Oh boy, that is weird." Yeah, see me, I would laugh hysterically, and then after I'd be like, okay, we have to move. Number 1, overnight visitor. This video was taken from a surveillance camera that was placed inside of a couple's home. Yeah, inside, not outside, in. Having a camera inside of your home isn't too common, but sometimes you're lucky you have one. Like this example. These people had one because what it caught while they were sleeping is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. When the couple woke up one day, they were unable to find a purse that they knew was in the house before they went to go to sleep, right? They're like, this is pretty much just right there, next to my chapstick. I know where my chapstick is. So they decided to check their handy security camera, and this is what they found. As it turns out, the couple fell asleep on the couch watching TV, and as they were sleeping there, a man crept in, and he was so quiet he didn't even wake them or their dog up. Yeah, he stood at the top of their stairs watching them sleep for a few minutes, which just adds another layer of, I'm gonna shit my pants, and then that's it, Bob's your uncle. I wouldn't even keep this tape, I would throw it out. This is cursed in itself. I'm glad the robber only took the purse and didn't do anything else. How scary is that? Guys, those are the top 10 terrifying found footage tapes the FBI cannot explain. Part 2. If you want a part 3, I have to get a subscription to the dark web, it seems. But I'll do it for you. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters. See you next time on Most Amazing Top 10.